Wow, whoa, hey, how you doing? Jake here says, personally, I have no experience, but I would say YouTube, you should do if you're looking to grow your audience. But if you already have a fan base, Twitch is better. False. I think the discoverability for a YouTube live stream is even lower than the discoverability for a Twitch live stream. There's just no discoverability for it. How often when going around YouTube do you get presented someone else's live stream? Like on Twitch, at least they jumble it up a bit and it can recommend you smaller live streams, but it just, most people when they get a few live streams to watch, they don't continue to search for more. And if they get introduced to new live streams, it's through the content creators that they already watch. For example, it's roughly 30 days and out of the 673,000 views I got, only 26,000 were new viewers. So 4%. And that's me being a super established content creator with, over 1,000 viewers. On YouTube in the last 3 to 4 months, in my recommended section on the right, I regularly get 1-2 videos with under 1,000 views from channels I'm not sub to. YouTube videos, absolutely. YouTube videos are the best way, or one of the best ways to gain an audience as a new person. Live streams, no. YouTube makes a specific effort to give some impressions to smaller content in their shorts section and in their main channel section. There was even a point where there was a dedicated spot on the side of your page where a low view video would pop up every single time without fail. I don't know if that's still the case now, but they do that. Like, I believe Twitch also in its recommendation has some effort to show smaller content creators as well. It's just, there was a lot more, you could say, churn. But let me rephrase it differently, okay? The average time spent watching a bit of content on TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts is small. So you see far more bits of content from far more creators as you flick. This compares to YouTube videos, which they watch for a little bit longer, but you still watch quite a few YouTube videos, When it goes to live streaming, people will sit in a live stream for like 4 hours. They'll watch one guy for 4 hours. There's just not as much movement between bits of content in live streaming, which gives less time for a person to need to discover someone new or to just coincidentally discover someone new that they want to watch long term. The shorter the content, the more movement there is. And so live streaming just has the least, independent of how good the platforms are at discoverability of that content, there's just naturally, due to the nature of the content, less chances for discoverability to happen. So as a new content creator, you largely want to be in the YouTube video space with shorts on the side. I say on the side because shorts are almost too disposable in regards to content. Like you'll flick through 1,000 shorts and I'll ask you, what was your favorite short? And you'll be like, I don't know. I'll be like, name one content creator who you watched in those shorts. And you'll be like, I don't know. I discovered your channel by shorts. Yes, people do. I think often what happens with me is that because I've released so many shorts that, if you see a person enough, you start to go, oh, that's that guy that I've seen before. If you see one short from a person, what's interesting about that short is the short itself, not the person who made it. But eventually when you see, because people say, oh, you're the GTA 5 shorts guy. They know me now because they've seen like 50 of my shorts, right?
Shorts for me are really just scrolling. I never actually watch any of the channel's long form videos.
I can prove to you that that's true for most people. So in my backend, there's a section here that says viewers across formats. And it says, how many people who watch my shorts also watch my videos? And 76% of people who watch my shorts don't watch any long form videos. 76%, not even one in the entire month. 13% watch both. So 13% of my entire audience uses both formats of shorts and long form. And then there's 11% that only watch videos. I'm among the 13%. I'm in both. Yeah. So there is an overlap here, but this has gotten better over time. Back in the day, this was way worse. YouTubers said they wanted to make a bit more of an effort to have cross discoverability, but the sort of people who watch shorts are not necessarily the same sort of people who are interested in watching YouTube videos. Like for some people, if they're going to watch something long form, they watch Netflix. And if they're out and about, they'll be flicking at the doctor's office for shorts. And that's what they're interested in, right? So shorts aren't valueless, but I could ditch shorts. I'm releasing 188 shorts right now. And the main reason why I'm okay with doing it is because Star can do it fairly independently. It doesn't take up a lot of my time. And it's cost neutral in that what I pay him is roughly what the shorts make. And then I've got this bonus here of like the increased discoverability. you know. It also shows me shorts and live. So 94% of the people who watch shorts do not watch my live content, suggesting that it is really just the length thing. If you're a person who watches shorts, the odds of you seeking out a live stream is very low. So 3% watch both and 3% watch live only. This one surprises me though. When it comes to my videos, 79% of those who watch my videos do not watch my live content. I guess just number-wise that would make sense, right? But like, and it makes sense that more people who watch my long-form videos will watch my live compared to shorts watch my live. But I thought this number would be a bit better. 16% of my audience watches both, and 5% watches the live only. So there was 5% of my combined video and live audience that only watches the live. Who is just watching my live content and never watching my long-form videos? Because a lot of people watch your shorts at work. They don't have much time to watch long videos. Yeah. So more people have a minute or two to throw away on a short than they do to watch a live stream for many hours, right? When browsing shorts, there were also lives, sometimes with a lot of views. Are they some kind of special shorts type live streams? Live streams in the shorts section is a very recent thing. YouTube is trying to take a chunk out of the TikTok live stream market. I actually hate this short form of entertainment that came out a few years ago, and now everything has to be short form. Before, the longer the video, the better it would be. Now no one can be bothered. The thing about shorts is that they're not very profitable, revenue-wise or in terms of discoverability. As in, I got 7 million long-form views this month compared to 41 million paying shorts views, and I made 10 times as much from the long-form views. People don't want to be successful in the shorts section. They want to be successful in the long form section. I will say though, an important caveat to that is my average view duration is 20 minutes. So you can see people, they might be getting 20 million long form video views a month, but they'll be making like less money than I am, even if I have 1/3 of those views, right? Because my videos are a lot longer and people are more likely to watch more ads, get more premium revenue and stuff. A view is not just a view, basically. The type of view, where that person is, how long they watch, all these things really matter. And I'm in a pretty good spot revenue-wise for my views. I've had some people be like, wrongly conclude that I am less successful than other content creators based on the individual views of my videos. People who use YouTube do not necessarily understand YouTube. And so they'll be like, oh, this got 15,000 views. Oh, his channel's dead. It's done. It's just, oh, look at this view. Oh, he's dead. It's done. And I'm like, I'm looking at the back end, like my best month ever. I'm like, you just don't understand. I once saw a person arguing with another person, and they were like, there was like a video from like 2 weeks prior with like 500,000 views, and the next one had like 150,000 views, and the next one had 100,000 views, and the next one had 50,000 views. And they were like, oh, look, his channel's dying. There's a decline of 50,000 views in each of his videos. He's done. They just don't understand. It isn't just time. It's just that different types of content are going to get different amounts of views. What makes a successful video is not the views it gets, but the relationship between the time and cost to make it and the views that it got. Like, if I can spend $10,000 to make a video that gets 1 million views, or I can spend $1 to make a video that gets 100,000 views, it's better to do the 100,000 view one, right? You can have extraordinarily successful videos that took so much time to make that they weren't worth making if you're just looking at the revenue. But again, I don't just do that. I'm more interested in making successful videos that people like. Money is secondary. How saturated is gaming content in YouTube? Like for a new YouTuber? Massively saturated. So unbelievably saturated. It's been saturated forever because gaming is incredibly accessible. Everyone has games. When gaming content first started, having the tools and know-how for how to capture it at all didn't exist. So like there was like significant barriers to entry to doing gaming content at a significant quality. That's not the case now. Your average 12-year-old is recording stuff in 4K. And a bigger problem though is finding a sort of gaming content that you can make continuously without burning yourself out. That's tough. I see channels that do challenge runs and that's all they do. And so they'll release one like every month, maybe every 2 months, and they might get like 200,000 views. You can't live off that. As I say, it's a lot harder to build a successful model on YouTube than it is to have a successful video or to occasionally release a video that is successful. I'm a little bit lightheaded. I've only had a few hours sleep and I had a nap. I went full passenger princess and had my fiance drive me back from our trip, and having a nap for me never refreshes me. It just destroys me. I'm just like, bleh. I did post some pictures of my little trip though. I couldn't decide whether I wanted to do a Red Dead Redemption 2 joke or a blimp joke, but I thought given that I went in a balloon, that doing a reference to John made more sense. I went on a balloon ride. While I didn't manage to see John in prison, it was really great. Except getting up at 4 a.m. Whatever that face is. It's us and yeah, look at that. It was fun. And I felt a lot better in the morning than I did later. I thought I just feel like shit immediately, but took a while.
How did it feel being in a hot air balloon? Being that high would scare me, DarkViperAU.
I don't have any fear of heights. It's hard to describe. The balloon is like as big as a 5-story building or something. There was 16 of us in the basket that had multiple different sections to it. Apparently it could have lifted up like 40 people and been fine. You need to understand that they only do balloon rides at a very particular time. And it's a time, well, they described it to us. So we're flying over all the trees. So we're flying over the trees at like 6 a.m. The sun has just risen up. And he's like, the main reason we do it this time every day is look at the trees. Every single tree was still. Like, there was not even a single leaf rustling. It's like, that's because like the cold air of like the grounds at night is rising up or something and meeting the air or whatever, and it's just making everything perfectly still. And like if there's even a slight gust of wind or some irregularity, they won't do it. They would just cancel it. They'd be like, yep. They'll call you the night before and go, yep, I'm sorry, done. We're not doing it. Because they know if anything bad happens, like even one problem, that's all anyone's going to talk about, and then no one's going to want to go. There's a lot of regulations around protections and safety and all that jazz. And at the end of the day, they would not be able to run a business and get insurance and stuff if it wasn't perfectly safe. Like if you're willing to drive a car or be driven in a car every day, then you shouldn't be afraid of going in something like a hot air balloon, because the odds of you being hurt in a car are astronomically higher than you being hurt in a hot air balloon, right? And this is this kind of stuff I tell myself. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I just don't worry about it. But I know some people just have like bodily responses to heights and stuff, but I fortunately do not.
What if the hot air balloon crashes into an observatory?
We crashed into a tree, but on the way down. So it's like, we're coming down a little bit fast. Like, I'm just gonna hit this tree. And we just go through a tree. I was like, all right, sweet. He talked about it as if it was like an intentional thing to slow down. But I don't know if that was true. We fucked that tree up. That tree owed me money. How big is my house? Like a mansion? Nah. It just looks very nice. It is the same size as a normal house. Well, you remember my old house? House tour's still up there. It is twice the size of that. But then again, like that house was a half house already. Because that was a house that shared a wall. So like it wasn't a big house to begin with. I'll put it to you this way. It's a big house, but when Aitana and I were discussing the possibility of having kids, we were like, where do we put them? Like I don't have space for like a media room or like a gym or what. Like as in like there's no free rooms, but it's big. I feel like in a mansion, you've just got like 7 extra free rooms to throw around. Are we discussing kids? We're in our 30s. Biologically, especially for women, like under 30 is the prime time for egg fertility and stuff. Like at that point, if you want to put off having kids, you're meant to like freeze eggs and stuff. You can have kids after 30. It's just you increase the risk of complications and stuff. And they're most likely to be viable. You would never have kids, don't have the energy or patience. I've always been on the fence. Because obviously having kids costs so much money, and it's very time consuming and space consuming. And once it's a responsibility that once it starts, like you can't really like, you know, get out of it. You can't just be like, nah, actually I've changed my mind. And there's potential health complications and, you know, a lot of responsibility and worry. But there's a reason why people have kids. It's obviously a very magical thing. It really adds to your life and uplifting the next generation. And I've got, you know, some disposable income so I can, you know, potentially get help and stuff. You know, like, I mean, when you get a person to clean your house and stuff and, you know, gives you a bit more time. You aspire to be the cool uncle? Yeah. Being a cool uncle was generally the best way to have kids. You get a little bit of responsibility, but not too much. You're like a part-time parent. Hate how when growing up, I would always say to my parents, I never want kids. And they would say, and they would keep saying that would change one day. Just about to hit my 20s and I still would never consider having them. That's really young. Under 20 is not does not tend to be the time you want to have kids. Your parents could end up being wrong. Like the amount of people in my generation, or, you know, but yeah, it's in my, like millennials, but, you know, it's a lot lower who want to have kids. And understandably so, like things are so tumultuous. The future is so uncertain and unstable, and people's life circumstances are so much less stable. That's not the kind of environment you want to bring a kid into. Like in generations past, people felt comfortable having kids because it'll be like, okay, look, I need to get a job. Hey, Frank, can I have a job? Yeah. Okay, good, I got a job. And like any job that you had was like support whole family with kids and with a nice house. Jobs are now becoming more of knowing someone more than applying. I mean, it's been forever, like 50% of people get their job through friends. Like people that they know, associates, friends, family. And there's an obvious reason for that. Like it's hard to judge a person from a paper or knowing them for 5 seconds. But if you have a trusted person who can vouch for them, like a significant amount of jobs, it's just a matter of training. You just need to be not fucked in the head, somewhat responsible. And in a couple of weeks, you can be knowledgeable enough to do the job proficiently. Or proficiently enough. And the interview process is just finding a person that's not completely fucked in the head. It's a lot less time consuming if you can just be like, oh, we need to get someone for that fucking department. Oh my God, does anyone know some guy? You know a guy? Okay, we'll get that guy in. That was easy. It costs money to look for people, right?
Saying having kids now is insane is disingenuous to me. People have always been like, OMG, everything is so fucked now. Used to be better, blah blah, wars and crisis were always somewhere on the planet.
No, it's not a matter of crisis necessarily. It's people in their 20s and 30s now are making less money, control less of the wealth, and are far more in debt than any previous generation at this time in their lives. And so when you have no assets, your job prospects are weak. Your likelihood of promotion in the future is not much. Your cost of living is a lot higher. And because you're in debt, your ability to absorb any shock price or a cost in the future is a lot lower. You can't bring a child into that circumstance. And in times past, there was significant optimism for the future. The optimism currently is really low. See if I can get some historical stuff for it. Well, I was just asking AI. It says there's not good data about optimism for the future going back decades, which is weird because it feels like that would be the question everyone would ask. AI is bullshit? Nah, it's... So for me, in my opinion, AI is the equivalent of asking your mate who you're pretty confident has some idea about a thing. Like you have a friend who knows a lot about Warhammer. So you're like, hey man, you tell me this thing about Warhammer, and they could still be wrong, right? They may have an interest in the thing, but they could still be wrong, But because you have no knowledge about, in this case, Warhammer, asking your mate is probably better than you just making the decision by yourself, right? Especially if you have a little, no time. If you've got 5 minutes to make a decision about Warhammer, you're better off doing it on the basis of what your mate says than just doing it by yourself. And that's how I see AI. It's like, if I got a little bit amount of time and I know nothing about a thing, I may as well ask AI and do something on its basis. It could still be wrong. In any case where there's an important decision, I'm obviously gonna double check it. In any case where it's a really important decision, it is not the thing that gets the final say in anything, but it is just like Google. In the same way, you would just Google something back in the day, get a random website, and that website be entirely wrong. That's the way it is with AI as well. AI is not it doesn't give you an access to an all-knowing, always correct deity or something. It's, word salad that may have something correct in it. AI is even more flawed than a human being because of how it processes data. I disagree. To put it another way, if I wanted to know the capital of South Korea, am I better off answering that question or asking AI? I'm better off asking AI. I could just ask Wikipedia. It's true. Because AI just scrapes Wikipedia a bit. But of course, that's just like a very simple, basic, fact-based question that doesn't require any extrapolation or interpretation. It's just a tool, like anything else. Wikipedia is a bad source, only for idiots. Like I've said many times before, the attacks on Wikipedia are entirely political. People will look up stuff and go, wait a second, it says that my particular stupid political beliefs have no basis in fact. The magic I believe in isn't real. This is propaganda by them there scientists. What do you mean this says we shouldn't chuck all the immigrants into volcanoes to power the great god Kabulu in the center of the earth? This is nonsense. I will not be brainwashed by these so-called people who read them books. I'm gonna go to listen to Pussy Slayer 45 on Twitter. He knows all the things. The great thing about Wikipedia compared to just a normal website is stuff is sourced. There is guidelines by which people can say shit. They can't just talk out their ass. Doesn't mean it's correct though. Like if you've ever taken the time to read Wikipedia and dig into the sources, there's always some interpretation necessary. There's always there are always things that aren't sourced well, or the person who's written it may have understood something themselves. It's just made by people, but it's a collaborative effort with a lot of people with particular standards, compared to normal websites where it's just some guy talking. Your average website has no sources and it's just some guy talking out his ass. I'd rather have a collection of people potentially talking out their ass with particular standards and people checking them than just some guy, which is what a lot of discourse is, especially on YouTube and social media. It's just some guy talking out their ass. Yeah, Wikipedia is democratic. And like any democracy can do bad things or do wrong things or get things wrong, but it's a better system than alternatives. Hi! Getting to the end of a Viper Rambles episode proves that you like me and my work far more than the average person. Given that, it's possible that you might find value in becoming a YouTube member. Members get early access to all my videos, including Rambles, as well as access to my growing library of re-uploaded deleted videos, 5% off my merch, and the ability to leave comments and feedback before public release, which is incredibly helpful for me and my team. You also get a cute badge next to your name, so I can easily identify you in my comment section and live stream chats, and you can also use all my cute emotes everywhere on the channel. Lastly, after 3 months of being a member, you can submit on my Discord to join my GTA Online crew. Thanks for the consideration, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I hope you enjoy future ones as well.